Hey there, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna be redoing my garage. The garage isn't too bad, honestly. It's painted and there's some chips on the wall and also there's no trim in there. So it's just stuff that I want to do since it's such a nice day just to clean it up. Literally, this shouldn't take me more than 2 days to do. Spoiler, this took way longer than 2 days to do. And it's gonna be very similar to the last project that I did. If you want to check that out, I'll put it right here. But essentially, I'm going to be doing it as cheap as possible with paint that I already have on hand and materials. And I kind of want to try something a little bit different with a painted trim with a plain white wall. So I just want to see how that's going to look because it may be something that I will be looking to do in the rest of the house. So keep watching. So here are some shots of what the garage looks like before. There's not really a lot of stuff in here, so it's not so much going to be decluttering, but more so cleaning and giving it a fresh coat of paint. There is a lot of stuff that has yellowed over time. Our house is from the 1990s, so it's definitely due for some updating. And the door frames here definitely could use some trim. We have some leftover trim that I'm going to use. I did end up having to buy a little bit of it, but I think just some paint, trim, and a good clean is going to make all the difference in here. And that's really all this makeover is. The main reason why I want to clean up the garage is because I want to use the garage in the winter months, put a space heater in here, and work on DIY projects and paint furniture and just have a workspace that's not in the house, but something that I can warm up with a space heater over the winter so that I can still paint. I am one of those people that I want my space to be clean and bright. When I'm working on something, it just helps me focus a lot better when I'm not worried about how the space around me looks. So I think that this is going to be really nice for the winter months. So here I'm just putting some spackling up on the wall. Honestly, I don't even know how this happened. It seems that the top layer of the drywall has been just peeled right off, so I don't really know what to do with it other than spackle it and then sand it just so that it's a nice smooth flat surface. But I think just this one part here will make it look a lot better, and to be honest with you, it completely drives me nuts every time I see it. So I am very happy to see this covered up. So for paint, I started off with the railings here. I gave it a nice clean before I started. There was a lot of rust on it. I went with fusion paint. I felt like that, other than spray paint, would be the best paint for the metal material that I was working with. I decided to go with my favorite color, Victorian white. I did debate doing them black, but let me know in the comments what you think. Should I have painted these black, or do you think they'll look good with a fresh coat of white? Then I plan on using this. I'm pretty sure is white paint. So this is almost a full can. So I'm thinking that this is gonna be the top layer if it's a nice white paint. These two. So this one here, this one was left over from my other project. And this one is the last white can paint I have on hand. So I'm probably gonna mix these two together because they're both about half a can each. So these two I'll use for the first coat, and this I will use for the second. If I have to, I will go out and buy white paint. Hopefully I don't, but we will see. And then lastly, I'm going to be using this leftover one. So this was actually used for our cupboards in the laundry room. It's a bit of a grayish. I don't know if it has a color on here, but this is the one that I'm going to be using specifically for the trim as well as the doors in there. Right now they're like gross white color with a bunch of stains on them. So I think if I put those a little bit darker, it's just going to make everything in there look a lot more clean. Here I'm just painting the trim with the grayish color I was talking about.
and I think it looks really nice. I apologize for the lighting. A lot of times, these projects I do in the evening. It's October at this point, so it gets dark really early. So I have to work at night, and then unfortunately, the lighting is terrible, but you'll see what it looks like at the end. So time went by. I was way too optimistic to think that I could get this done in 2 days over the weekend. What ended up happening is I would just have to work on it little by little on my nights off from work. Um, the reality of it is life gets in the way. We threw a Halloween party, so that got me off track a little bit. But super fun party, but so I got back at it, finished up around the frames. I cleaned all of that up, and then I did the doors. It looked pretty good. You can't really tell in these videos again because the lighting's so dark, but it actually it dries darker than what you see here. And again, I'll show you at the end what it all looked like when it came together. But overall, I was super happy with how it was coming along. And then I took a break. In January, I put the paintbrush down because we got a little puppy. And boy, was I not aware of how much work puppies are. The reality of it as well is we had a very cold winter, so even with the space heater going and me having the wood stove with the door open, the garage was still too cold to paint in, which I've never had living in this house. So it's not to say that I took a break entirely. I was still doing some stuff around the house, but I was pretty limited at that time with what I could and could not do, just because the puppy took a lot of my attention. So, unfortunately, I had to abandon the garage makeover for the next couple of months, at least waiting for the weather to get a little bit better and for the puppy to get a little bit more grown. And I think that's real life. You can't finish everything in 2 days, especially when you're working a full-time job. And although I was very frustrated that I wasn't able to finish it as quickly as I wanted to, I think that's real.
Leftover paints, so I'm just gonna give it a shake. Everything's pretty much prepped and ready to go. I filled in all the holes with spackling, and I've also sanded them down so it's nice and smooth. As you can see, I haven't really put in any tape. I don't think I'm going to. Reason being, these are gonna be pretty rough lines just because I'm going to put trim over top of it. So it is gonna be a little bit more forgiving for that. And I think I'm gonna try to get away with it because it takes a lot of time to paint. And same thing for the ceiling. Ideally, I would like to tape off the ceiling, but looking at it, I think I could use a coat of paint as well. So I think I'm going to try to paint that as well. So we got one coat done. I think we're gonna need at least 3, possibly 4. I'm hoping 3. But it already looks so much brighter and fresher in here, so I'm really happy about that. All right, so we're back for day 2 of painting. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been a week. My husband and I were both pretty sick. So it's the weekend, the next weekend, so we're finally getting back to it. So far, the second coat is all in half, and it looks pretty good. I think we could get away with 3 coats. My husband thinks it's gonna take 4, but I'll be interested to see once we get the rest of the second coat done and then start on the third where we're at. I'm also really excited to see the trim up. That's I think gonna be the best part about this makeover. It's like so simple, but I think it's just gonna make it look so much nicer in here once we have that part done. Because right now you can see the door behind me. It just looks very unfinished. Even with the new paint on it, it's very unfinished. So I think just, and this is the cheapest trim that you can get at the store as well, by the way. Just having that painted the same color as the door, I think is gonna make, what do you guys think? Once this is done, it should last for years. You know, it's gonna get dirty in here, but at least it'll just be more so maintenance, and at least we're starting with a nice, fresh, clean, plain palette.
One thing that I forgot to film was the trim that I used on the window. So I ran out of the trim for the door, and I didn't feel like going out and buying new trim. So I ended up just using some scrap wood from some other projects. This wood I used in my laundry room on the wall, and then I also used it to make a cat door with my husband, which I have a short of on my channel. I am really happy with how it looked. I actually ended up making the bottom and top part of the window frame slightly longer than the sides, and it just gives a really sweet cottage look, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And there you have it. Garage makeover that took 8+ months, but I'm super happy with how it turned out overall, and I can't wait to start doing some projects in here when the weather gets cooler in the fall. I do have some projects that I'm working on right now that I hope to share with you soon, so stay tuned.